Hello, good day and welcome. I'm Timotab and today I'm going to solve Not Arrows by BremSter. This is part of the Sudokétudes 9 puzzle pack, which was created by BremSter. There will be a link to the pack in the description, but the first link will be to this puzzle if you would like to try it. Okay, let's have a look at the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. So we are going to place the digits 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every box without repetition. Whispers 5. Adjacent digits on a green line must have a difference of at least 5. So if this were a 7, for example, this would have to be a 1 or a 2 in order to be at least 5 away from it. Okay, I am going to restart the puzzle to reset the timer, and let's begin. Well, let's start with some secrets of Whisper 5 lines. First of all, I can't put a 5 on one of them because if I did, the next digit would have to be 0 or negative or 10 or more, none of which are valid Sudoku digits. Then I have to alternate between high and low. And the reason for that is that, let us suppose, ignoring the other digits that are already on the line, already in the grid, sorry, suppose I put 1, 2, 3, and 4 like that next to each other. Well, the maximum difference between those would be between the 1 and the 4, which would be a difference of 3. But I'm required a minimum difference of 5. Likewise, if I put 2, 6, 7, 8, 9 digits next to each other, not 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, but 6, 7, 8, 9 next to another 6, 7, 8, 9. The maximum difference there would be 3, but I'm required a minimum of 5. So they're going to go above 5 and below 5, alternating along the line. Next, 4 and 6 are difficult to place. If that were a 4, the only digit that can go next to a 4 on a line, it's the only one that's at least 5 away from it, is 9. So that would have to be 9, and that would have to be 9. Likewise with 6 and 1. So I can't place a 4 if either side of it on the line, the digits would see each other in Sudoku terms. So that's our secrets of the Whisper 5 lines. Let's see if we can do any Sudoku to get us started, because I see we have a lot of given 3s and we have a lot of given 6s. So let's start with those. So we have, in this box, we have a 3 there. That's the only place that 3 can go in this box. In this box, we can only place 3 there. That's useful because that tells us that this is a high digit. Next to a 3, I can only put 8 or 9, but that can't be a 9 because of the 9 in the row. So that's an 8. I can't put 4 in either of those because that's an 8. And I can't put 3 in either of them, so that's actually a 1-2 pair. This digit here is a high digit. It can't be 9 or 8. It can't be 6 because of our German whisper secret. So that is a 7. And that is a 1 or a 2. Okay, that seems like a good start. Let's carry on with the 3s so we don't forget. 3 has to go there. And that places our last 3 here. Okay. Next question. Can this digit be a high digit? If this were high, both of these would be low, and then I would have 5 low digits in this row. So that cannot be a high digit, it must be a low digit. So that's 1, 2, and 4. But it can't be 4, because if that were 4, all 3 of these would be 9, and I would have 2 9s in a row and a column. So that is a 1 or a 2. That can't be a 6, 8, or 9, so that's a 7. This is 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't see there's any restriction there. That's 8 or 9. This is a 1 or a 2. and this is 7 or 9. Okay, that has been fairly helpful. I think we can use the same trick we used here in this corner. Can this be a high digit? If this were a high digit, both of those would be low, and I would have 5 low digits in the column. So that must be a low digit. Again, it can't be 4 because of those would all be lines. So that is a 1 or a 2, which gives us a 1-2 pair in the box. That's very nice. So these are high, and none of them are 8. Those two can't be 6, so that is a 7-9 pair. That can't be 9 or 8, so that is 6 or 7. That is low, it has to be a 2. That is high and is 7, 8 or 9. Can't be a 6 because that's a 2. 6 in this box now goes here. 6 is in one of those two. Okay. This can't be low because we already know it can't be a 4 because of the 9 problem. So that must be a high digit. That must be 7 or 9. That makes these low. That's a 1 or a 2. These are from 1, 2, and 4. That is a high digit. That's 7, 8, or 9. That is low. That's 1 or 2. All right. Four is not in any of those, so 4 is in one of those two. That means that 4 in box 7 is in one of those two, which places 4 in one of those 3. But, right, so these are from 4, 5, 7, and 9, and that's not a 4, but 4 is in one of those, so that's not a 4. 4 now can't be there, and it's not there, so 4 is in one of these two. And that means that's not a 4, and that one is. Okay, so in this column we only have 3 different digits left, so that's 5, 7, and 9, and this one is not a 7. This column is restricted. They are 4, 5, and 8. This one is not an 8. That's not a 4. Okay, where does 4 go in this row? It can't go here because of the 4 candidates there. It can't go here because of the 4 there. So one of those two is a 4, and if one of those two is a 4, that must be a 9. Doesn't matter which one is a 4, it forces that to be a 9. And now we get a 4, 5, 7 triple. This is not 9. So in this box we have 4, 5, 6, 9. Oh, and these two aren't 4. Oh, okay. That gives me a 5, 6, 9 triple in this row. And that means that the 6 is in one of those two, so that's not a 6. But where does the 6 go in row 7? It must go here. So that makes this a 1. That makes this 2. That makes this a 7. That's 9 and that's 7. So that is not 7. That 1, oh, that 2 makes that a 1. So now that is a 2, 4 pair. And we need 5, 8, and 1 to complete the row. And that's not a 5. Okay. All right. Let me see. Right, 6 is not there, so 6 is in one of those 3. In fact, it's one of those 2. Ah, that's a 6. So that's not a 6, and that is. That means that that is not a 6, and that is. And is that our last 6? I think so. I'll remove those corner marks. 9 is in one of those 2, so that's not a 9. In fact, I could have seen that from here. One of those is a 1. That is not a 7. That is 5 or 8 for the row. That's not 7. One of these 2 is a 7. Okay. For the row, I need 4, 5, 8, 9. That can't be a 4. That can't be a 4 or a 5. That gives me an 8, 9 pair. So that's a 5. That makes that 4. And I've missed a 7 in the row. Okay, let's try that again. That can't be 4, 5, or 7. That still gives me an 8, 9 pair in the row. And that one can't be a 4. That still leaves that down to 5 or 7. Okay. But that's not a 9, so that's a 4, 5. Okay, that's a 7. That means that is not 7. And 7 is now here. That means that that's not 7, and that is. So these are from 1, 5, and 8. And that is not an 8. This 4, 5 pair means that that's a 9. So that's 5. So that's 9. That by the column and that 1 is 2 or 5. Ah, this 2 is looking down there. That's a 1. that's a 2, that's 5, that's 1. That gives me a 5-8 pair in the box. That is not 5. That 2 makes that 1. That is not a 7. That gives me a 4-5 in the box, so that's a 7. Let me see. Okay, that's not 4, so one of those two is a 4. So that's not a 4, and that one is. 1 in this row is now here. Those two ones prevent it from being there. And that is a 2-8 pair. That's a 7 there. That makes that 9. That's 8. That's 2. And that is 5. That is 2, 8, and 9. 2 is looking up there. That's a 4. That's a 2. That's a 4. 5-9 pair for the column, but the 5 there tells me that that's 9. That's 5. 8 and 5 go in. That's a 9, which I could have known from that 4. That's not a 5. I've got a 1-8 pair there. That's 1. In fact, that's an 8 from the one in the bottom. That's a 2. That's a 1. That's a 1. That's an 8 and a 5 here. We are closing in. This 5 is looking down. That's a 4. That's an 8. That's a 5. This is a 2-4 pair, and we know the order, 2 and 4. That resolves the 5 and the 4. That's a 5 here. We need a 2, which goes there, and a 8 here. And that was a delightful puzzle. I really, really liked how these not arrowheads caused these three to be high or low, and because of the digits that we'd already discovered in the row or column, proved that could or could not be what it was. So yeah, no, I really like that puzzle. Thank you very much, BremSter, for creating it. If you liked this solve, you can please do hit the like button. You can subscribe to see some more, and we would love to hear your comments. I'm looking forward to next time. Be seeing you.